Yeah, so myself, again, thanks for having me. I'm leading up partnerships on Carve, but like many of you in this audience building in Web3, we kind of wear multiple hats, right? So sometimes I'll spend some time doing community, maybe I'll do a little bit of ops, etc. You get the deal. Carve is building credentialing infrastructure for games as well as brands to better identify potential users based on different off-chain and on-chain credentials. We're both B2B and B2C, right? So that was the B2B side. On the B2C side, we're really giving gamers the tools to build out their identity. And I see a couple of our community members in here. That's great. I'm going to post this link in our Discord in a second. But they'll come to Carve to, do certain campaigns, participate in certain AMAs, certain game nights, and get these attestations, right? To verify what they've done, these behavioral things. And yeah, they can bring their most proud Web2 achievements on chain as well through tech we call generative archive tokens, usually powered through like the Steam API or the Epic API. But I could basically have my CSGO achievements on chain, for example. So we've really become the UA tool for gaming, especially in this last month. We've launched our data to earn campaign. Again, I'm going to post a link right below here, maybe pin it above. But basically, this is allowing people to farm what we call SOL, which can later be exchanged for on TGE upon TGE. And basically, you can farm this amount, or you can farm SOL by linking your credentials again. So happy to jump into everything. We're the number 2 DApp on DApp Radar right now. We've got about 100,000 daily active users on the Carve Play side. So it's really strong. Thank you again to LairX for having us here, and for Ina for setting it up in my DMs. But yeah, super stoked to dive in.
Okay, yeah. Look, I think look, let's just dive in a little bit more about it. I'm always fascinated by gaming uh, um, projects. So, yeah, tell us how it operates within the gaming community.
Yeah, I guess the flow. So we have
Hmm.
over 200 and yeah, 200 Web3 titles listed on Carve that are, done through my individual and my team's business development efforts. We work hand in hand with these games to put on campaigns, but then also break down the users that participate in these campaigns, right? So let's say, bro, that we have a game gets 1,000 participants. Right now, we're seeing traction much higher than that, but for math's sake, let's just do this. Post campaign, we will break down with the game the users on a genre specific basis. So what recently happened with King of Destiny, right, from Infinigods, was they wanted to run a campaign on Carve and then see users' Steam data for players who play like Monopoly or casino social games, etc. What we'll then do is query the participants that participated for those Steam IDs and see who played. Better giving Infinigods an idea of the demographic of players, but then also, hey, they would probably want to target these users more specifically because they're the ones that likely will play King of Destiny long term. I still actually have to deliver them that today. Just reminded myself on this, so I got to get that done. But that's really the flow, right? Getting games users, getting them the ability to engage them, and then also retain them with different tools we have on Carve, whether it be in-game quests or what we call Carve missions. There's a lot going on to it, but yeah, 250 plus games, and I think we'll dive into this a little bit later on what we're doing to onboard
Sure.
gamers. But a lot of Web2 games are listed on Carve as well. Sorry to cut you off.
No, no, absolutely fine. No, what I might do is jump across to Osman or Anil, and just get an update on OmChain and how you guys are progressing, and then we'll probably swap back to Paul.
Thank you. So over the last few weeks, we were kind of drafting the exact technical specification for our DID solution, because our vision here is to, um, basically for those who haven't heard about us before, for those who are listening us for the first time, as OmChain, we are building a DID solution, decentralized self-sovereign identity solution that is based on blockchain technology. Our main target audience is, of course, B2B and public institutions, government agencies, so that each and every citizen out there can have their own self-sovereign identity. For the last few weeks, we have been drafting the technical specification for our POC implementation, because we realized that the need in the market is not just specific to self-sovereign IDs, but also the implementation of those IDs. Because if you were to implement Google sign in or Apple sign in right now, you would have to go through a few technical steps, and for each new uh, sign-in solution that you're planning to integrate, you have to go through an integration process. So we are overly simplifying this process with just providing a JSON file that is sitting at the top domain level, and we are aiming that each and every website can communicate with each other without requiring any technical implementation other than the main DID implementation. So this is very exciting, and we are currently deploying the MVP implementation with the municipality of Istanbul. We hope that it's going to be finalized by the end of this month. It's very important and significant for us because Istanbul has 18 million citizens living in it, and every day there's hundreds of different municipality services that are being offered to citizens living in the city, the ones that I wouldn't even be thinking about. So, considering that from that perspective, I think it's really exciting to be the DID provider of one of the largest cities in the world. So, we are also excited with the ongoing developments here.
Fantastic. Also, a little question without notice on here, but how would you actually see the OmChain and the digital identity actually improving the life of citizens in within Turkey? And knowing full well I am focusing on Turkey at the moment because obviously that's where you're rolling out. And how do you see it actually going to help? Because it's something that can actually go across many countries around the world, if not all.
Yeah, the main takeaway from our work here is that Turkey is actually, how do I say, very innovative in terms of digital services. I can say that we have one of the best online or e-banking services in the world. I can say we have one of the best e-government applications in the world. So right now, even without going through any government agency, I can get most of the documents signed with e-signatures online within a few seconds. Within few seconds. So in that sense, we just realized that um, while we are doing all these paperless transactions in Turkey, you still have to print out that document you just received and then take it to some, your employer or any other person who might need that document. So even though the issuance and the verification of those documents or that information is digital, you still have to physically transport or send that document to the counterparty that you are interacting with. So our solution more or less solves that problem. Right now, you owning your own identity, you can provide full consent to data access or partial consent to data access from any service provider that is storing your data to any other third-party service that is going to be consuming that data. Initially, the main problem was the consent. So user had to provide a signed hard copy approval for that data sharing, but now we are eliminating that need. And the second part is that the integration of those APIs, because even if that data was available at this moment, it takes some time to integrate that data. So we are transforming that approach, we are transforming that understanding as well, and just by providing labeled data sets in a service file, any third-party application can immediately know which type of data that they can query from the source who is storing that data on behalf of the user. So in that sense, we believe that it is going to be bringing the power to the user, because now user or the citizens of Istanbul and eventually and hopefully the citizens of Turkey and other countries will have full power or full say over their data. This is very important because if you look at GDPR and other necessary laws that are currently getting more and more popular in the world, even though we own our data, it's not up to us to share it with others or not share it with others. So in that sense, we are making 100% sure that if any data is shared with any third party, user had already explicitly provided consent for that. If not, that data won't be able to get shared. So I think in that sense, it is making us understand what we own in this digital world, and hopefully later on that digital ID could not be limited with the only the existing solutions, but also there could be other things that could be built on top of that ID. For example, we are going to be launching an email verification ID towards the end of this month. So your ID could have your email address associated with it without you revealing your email address. So that next time you won't connect to any other website, that website can now send you an email without actually knowing your email address. So there are also those things that are making us excited about our solution.
And potentially you can also start verifying emails that are being sent to you using the same process. So it's going to actually make potentially significant inroads into reduction of spam emails that are going around the world, and hackers sending emails with links and all sorts of Trojans, etc.
Exactly. Just let me add one little thing. I know
Sure.
I talked a lot today, but the main thing here is when you receive an email, it might say that this is like Osman blah blah at Gmail sent you that email. You see that you verify that signature, but that signature is not provided by me. It is provided by Google. And if Google says that it has been sent from my email, then you assume that it was me who sent that email. But it might not be me who sent that email. So, and also there is another approach to another problem that we usually don't talk about or don't see. Um, the traditional applications, they require you to sign up with your email address, but then they can keep sending you some promotional emails and other informative stuff. Whereas on Web3, when you wallet connect, there is no way for this website or service provider at the end. If you look at it, it's also a business. Uniswap is also a business. OpenSea is also a business, right? There is no way for those platforms to reach you out. There is no way for those platforms to send you an email or a notification. They can only, publish their updates on their websites or socials. If you're not following them, there is no way for them to, get you back to their website. So in that sense, our solution could be helping them reach out their users without compromising the privacy of the end user.
And we start seeing there's a lot of news stories out there at the moment around all these email address lists that have been hacked and all your personal details. And I think this goes a very long way towards solving that problem, if not completely. The way I see it moving in the future is that not only are users going to be able to retain access and control of their data, that self-sovereignty, it's going to cut down on the amount of the amount of spam, as I said earlier, the amount of hackers trying to intrude in on your personal data and your bank, your wallet, all those sort of things. Osman, I might come back to you shortly, but I'll jump back across to Paul and see if we can get a little bit find a little bit more about it. And really, Paul, if you've got a minute, talk about how privacy actually relates across to Carv and how you handle consent.
Yeah, great question. And the email hacking topic triggered some PTSD. I had my credit card deal with some fraud over the weekend. So going through that process has been, I'm a little traumatized, but hopefully things will go a little bit better this week. To your point, how is Carv dealing with privacy? Also want to know, Osman, sounds like you guys are building a hell of a project. Hopefully later in this talk, we can talk about some synergies because I definitely saw a lot of them. But what we're really doing on the privacy side, so I mean, it's a little similar to what Osman was describing with OmChain, right? So when users are buying these .play name services to participate in our campaign, they're also consenting to having their data shared with the games that we work with. So much like earlier when I was talking about user acquisition, if any player shows up in a query for, let's say, shooters, right? They're going to have their data shared with that game, for example. And so the way we do it, the way privacy comes in is that Carv doesn't touch any of the raw data. It's all seen in TEE, right? Trusted execution environments. And then we use ZK proofs as well to ensure our players' privacy. So they all have to worry about is discovering new games and participating in these campaigns. What they can get out of this, right, by consenting to share their data, they'll earn passive rewards every time a game queries on Carv, right? So the more and more games that we work with doing user acquisition, the more and more our players can earn just by having their data access. Again, it won't be each player on Carv. It'll only be the players that are met in the search, right? So if a shooter game is looking for shooter players, well, then shooter players will passively earn on Carv, and you get the picture there. So that's what we're doing on the privacy side. And then I also commented, let me find it, on the space. Hold on, a link you guys can go to. I'm going to pin it here. I think I did it successfully. If you guys click that link, you'll head over to the Carve protocol page where you can mint what we have, the .play name service. It's basically a multi-ID NFT where you can bind like your Steam account, your Carve Play account, your MetaMask, and some other socials as well, and participate in our airdrop. And you know, by the numbers, we are the hottest airdrop right now. I think it's 400,000 unique active wallets, number 2 on DApp Radar, and so you guys can go through that link. I'm happy to explain the benefits of having one of those as we go on through the space. But yeah, that's what we're doing on the privacy side.
That sounds fantastic, and I think as you learn a little bit more about what Layer 1X is doing, and with OmChain, I think some of those capabilities, and this is introducing those capabilities across the entire Web3 space, across blockchain. I think probably the biggest thing that comes out of it for me is the collaboration that is occurring that just does not occur in traditional Web2.
Yeah.
So I think there's certainly there's a lot of synergies there between a lot of the work that we're doing. So I think
Yeah,
our listeners will probably see that starting to come out.
On that topic, if I may, really quickly, like one thing
Please.
I already thought of, OmChain's DID could be bound to the Carve ID, just like we have the Carve Play, the MetaMask, etc. And then users could farm more for having that credential added to their Carve account. So it's basically like what we've built and what Osmond's building too is that self-sovereign identity, right? Taking ownership over your data, because he was bringing it up a lot when he was speaking, but like in traditional Web2 sense, there is no value share for the user's data. It's all very centralized and they don't get anything out of it. So that's what we're trying to do with passive rewards, etc. Yeah.
And dare I say it, some of those big companies out there, the likes of the Googles and the Facebooks and everybody else, and
Yeah.
even X, they all own every single user on here. Their data is owned by those companies. Yeah, we're all
Yeah.
on there, and this is what we've got to take back. And I think that's the synergy of what we're trying to build between all of us. Where we're going to start seeing some changes coming through, and they're going to be some pretty radical changes. They might sound very complex to listeners who are listening on this, going, I don't quite understand that self-sovereign, and just to give people an idea. In my past, I've worked across through government organisations, and one of the requirements there is ensuring that you have data sovereignty, i.e., your data is held in the country in which you're living, and under the control of that organisation. And that is also the problem, because it's under the control of those organizations. Giving back that self-sovereignty means that the user takes back that control. They know where their data is. They know who they've shared it with, or who they want to then share ongoing, or cut it off. You have that ability and that choice. And we start introducing those capabilities. Now, can you just elaborate a little bit on the mechanisms through which Carve actually allows users to share the value captured from their data from that utility?
Yeah, it was kind of what I was talking about on the UA side, right? So anytime their
Okay.
data is accessed, they're earning passively, right? There's value right there as well. Also, like in the overarching campaign right now called Data to Earn, a bunch of games are launching campaigns underneath that kind of umbrella, and they're all pledging like USDT or token rewards as well. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on. A lot of a lot of ways to earn right now on Carve for consenting and for participating.
And that's fantastic. So users actually start receiving a return for their data, because it is
Yep.
very valuable. And I think we've done some guesstimates around that. And users' data can be worth thousands every year to these organisations. So
Yeah.
do the users want to take that back? Well, absolutely.
Yeah,
Why
I
should
mean,
we
I'm looking
empower
at
them? let them profit.
I'm looking at my balance right now. It's not strong. Mine's only 10 cents because I mean I'm on the team. I don't really participate on these things that much, but I know there's some users on Carv right now that have close to $100 in this first month. And I want to be clear, like we're not promising, hey, come to Carv and replace your salary or your income, right? But as a gamer, if you're going to be playing these games all day anyway, like just at least earning passively from it, like makes a lot of sense. And then the more and more Carv works with more and more games, the more and more monetization opportunities there will be.
They create the value. Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
um, and I'll jump back across to Osman or Anil, whoever wants to answer. But so, you guys are building something that's extremely unique, and we're pretty proud to be working with you on that. But how does OmChain drive that sustainable innovation across Web3? How do you see things progressing from here? Talk a little bit about that, if you could, Osman.
I think Anil here could talk
Yeah,
better about our
Go for it,
sustainability
please, Anil.
approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, thank you, guys. Primarily, Chip, primarily we meticulously map out on every project thus far, delving into the intricacies of business models, partnerships, and startups. When engaging in incubation, following a comprehensive analysis, we determine the sustainability features to integrate into business models, a pivotal aspect of our operations. Our approach revolves around contributing significantly to any business model. While the term sustainability often invokes talks of environmental policies, our interpretation extends beyond the environment to encompass commitment, consistency, judicious resource utilization, provisions of complementary services, and fortifying bonds with the community. And then the success of our technology adoption hinges on the provision of consistent commercial models, like without cash flow, income generation, engagement, hype, and then critically, all these elements pre-established. Securing investment for a business model becomes daunting task. So these elements are indispensable procedures. Omitting any one could result in failure to capture the attention of community members and stakeholders. Despite the accolades received for groundbreaking innovations, without foundation of solid fundamentals, one may find themselves empty-handed at the end of the day. And our affinity for sustainability and dissatisfaction derived from implementing such methodologies and working practices stem perhaps from our instincts. It reflects a sense of social responsibility and brings a sense of relief to our hearts and minds. When it comes to amalgamating Web3 and sustainability, we consistently scrutinize every conceivable possibility and potential business model in the upcoming months as we integrate blockchain into commercial ventures. Our methodology seamlessly aligns with a sustainability centric approach. Despite occasional forays into detailed exploration due to dearth of blockchain information, and I can say we strive to create a proof of concept and strategic approaches such as determining the necessity of blockchain for business model, the post-tokenization process, and addressing user-friendliness concerns and part of our meticulous process. And I can say finally, our aim is to ensure that the transparency and clarity of the business models we create, facilitating understanding for all stakeholders involved in the commercial model.
Thank you there, Anil, for that. And you actually spoke a little bit about the commercialization side of it now, and I was going to
Yeah,
be speaking really about the government aspects of the digital identity. And so what we're really seeing there is how a solution that provides that digital identity isn't just related to government; it is also across corporates, and
yeah,
how
exactly,
you're allowed
100%.
to share that data. So what we're doing or you're doing from a sustainability point of view is actually expanding the use cases across not just government but across those commercial organisations and those and it could be absolutely anything from healthcare all the way through to retail.
100%. Just I would like to add something, and maybe Osman would like to add something more. Just I would like to say it might be related to just small portion of our business aspect. Like I'm talking about local government side, and the procedure takes long time. But if we focus on, except for this governmental side, like banks, insurance companies, e-commerce companies, or KYC providers, the total addressable market looks promising and excitement for all of us. And yeah, it's the 100% we should focus on, except for local governments, and we should focus on try to collaborate with banks and insurance companies as well. And we are about to make an agreement with some institutions. I don't want to give any clue about that, but yeah, it looks promising for this technology ID solution.
Which is fantastic. Osman, if you want to add a little, yeah.
Yeah, I think Anil had explained greatly what we're working on recently. I just wanted to point out one thing about one of the misconceptions that we have. We usually think that platforms or websites or corporates, businesses want to know our personal data. We always think that, oh, they're watching my phone, they're listening to my conversations, they're seeing what message that I am sending to my friends. But actually, none of these companies, none of these businesses that are working with the processed data, they don't actually need my name. They don't actually need my age. They don't actually need exactly what I am communicating. So what they need is actually labeled data. So to them, to business owners, actually knowing that it's me is actually costing them money, because if there is a security breach, if there is a problem, if there is something specific going on with me, my data, and the data policies and laws around it, privacy laws, they are being responsible from that data that they are storing. So when we actually talk about our DID solution and saying that, hey, we are willing to have your data service being separated from your ID service, or hey, the municipality of Istanbul is going to be the authority of the citizens and you can store data without knowing exactly who that person is, they immediately jump on. They are immediately onboarded, because to them it's no difference if it's Osman blah 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 and lives in here. They're interested in what I am talking about. They're interested in what I am shopping about, but not to me specifically. They're interested in numbers and statistics and data. They're willing to see how many people are interested in buying red sneakers. They're not interested in who wants to buy a red sneaker. So in that sense, I think the ID has more applications, at least more applications that are going to be touching to the end user in the B2B world than the government world.
I just realised I was actually on mute. My apologies. So here I am talking away. So what I'd like to do is, I guess, is throw the question out to Paul about how you can see the synergy. So we've got our Layer 1X wallet, and maybe how that combined across with the digital identity that OmChain are providing across to the Turkish government, and then across the corporate, and then across the gaming world, how you envision that could actually enhance Carv. So across to you, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, sorry for the echo. Look, there's several different ways we could do it, right? Is it integrating the Layer X wallet to be a login method on Carv? It could be that, but also the more we credentials bound to Carv, the more we can know on the user, right? As well, especially if it's on chain. One of the segmentations I'm talking about with some games that we work with is like, okay, we can see the genre specific stuff, right? The Web2 data, that behavior. But let's take it even a step further, right? Which NFTs are these guys holding? Are they holding NFTs in your community? Are they big on this chain, on that chain, etc.? So just getting to know your user even more. And I think Osman was just talking about how they don't care. I forget how you phrased it. They only care who's buying red Nike shoes, maybe, or whatever it may be. But like that's where things get really interesting, right? Because then you could just kind of better target the users. So that's where we're going. So I guess to answer your point, Layer 1X and Carv could integrate, wallets together. We could also help, games in your ecosystem scale. And same thing for OmChain, bind that credential to the Carv ID, users could have their OmChain, identity, their Carv Play identity, their MetaMask identity, all these different credentials on one DID is kind of where we're going.
Yeah, which sounds fantastic. And the way we've actually designed the Layer 1X wallet is that it becomes really not just a wallet, it is a wallet of wallets. It's also your
Mm,
digital identity. It's actually, we built it out from just the wallet into the L1X app, where
nice.
those dApps can actually can run within there, whether it's across in the DeFi space or in the gaming world. We've got a number of gaming projects that are in the middle of building on us. So I think that could actually bring some huge synergies between us.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, that's the low hanging fruit, right? We do with a lot of chains that we work with. For example, like God, I can't believe this hasn't been announced yet, but I mean, there's been tweets about it from Gio and myself. But we're on Ronin, and we drove over. I think the number is 300,000 users on to Ronin, right? So we really boosted their monthly active users, right? In terms of wallets, which I think they broke 1 mil. A large part of that was because of us, and so that word's kind of gotten out. And I've had a lot of influx and inbound from some of our relationships at these ecosystems, like, yo, can you guys add this to our chain to support on Carve? Because a lot of these people want a piece of the pie. For example, we did Linea last week. I think we're working with Linea now, which is consensus, right? And we're the number one DApp on Linea with over 40,000 wallets. So yeah, would be happy to explore working with Layer 1X and any chain out there. I think people like Carve, so we're doing something right, I think.
Fantastic. And I think one of the other capabilities that we have is the ability to be able to transact cross-chain without
Yeah,
using a bridge. Now, and that also includes NFTs. So you're able to actually put NFTs up on multiple marketplaces at the same time.
nice.
NPC, Blue.io, and Magic Eden, etc., or any marketplace. And I think the capability that offers back across to projects such as yourself is actually quite fantastic. Um,
I think, if I may, sorry, that's even more valuable to users because everyone
yeah,
talks about adoption this, adoption that, but the typical I'll keep it gaming focused because Car's gaming focused. They don't care what chain they're on, right? They just
correct.
want to play fun games, and I think that's we're seeing it now with Pal World, right? A million concurrent players or whatever it may be, no blockchain in whatsoever. Like people will go where the fun products are. So if you can dumb down all the technical stuff they need to care about to like basically nothing and they just can play fun products. Yeah, that's a really cool solution you guys have.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think going back to our CXO, makes the statement around it has to be easy, so easy that grandma can use it, and I
Yeah,
think in that statement it's been around a little while now, and might make people laugh a little bit, but it's real. I sit there and I try and explain it across to my father what we're doing, and he doesn't get it, but we go back a whole bunch of years, and they had the same problem when transferring across from the old bank passbooks into electronic accounts. This is really where we're going. Is that we've reached a point with all of the amount of data that's actually sitting out there around the world, how we secure it, how we actually give back that ownership to the users and safeguard it at the same time. But it's not just across the DeFi space or even traditional finance, it is across every aspect. So it's across the gaming side of it. People want to be able to live safely, to be able to go out there and go, whether they're going to the library and they need their ID for that, whether they're getting on a bus, or whether they're playing a game. You don't, whether they're an artist, they create those NFTs for the game, a skin of some sort or a weapon or anything else like that. Those items become absolutely paramount in the current world.
yeah. I think
So
you also brought up an interesting point. Like this, it also becomes a little bit more convenient as well. But you have to safeguard your privacy as well with any of these technological advancements. Don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I think yeah, super exciting times right now.
totally agree. So in terms of user experience, Paul, how do you see your solution making life easier for users, for your gamers, for in fact for anybody?
Yeah. 100%. Okay. I think there's a couple different ways to answer this. I think I'll start here. Basically, I think user flow, like game discoverability is important, especially like for the gamer, finding new games it's happened a bunch on Carv. Just someone who comes across something organically, or it's a quest, and they fall in love with the game. I think that's a great flow, but something we're integrating and always improving. And I feel like it's the hot new buzzword, but we're looking at using AI to improve this process, right? Getting pushed a suggestion as a user before even realizing it's out there for you. So that's something exciting as a user, I think. But also we have worked with like Particle Network as well for this dot play name service. Like you can sign in and get your own account abstraction wallet rather than worrying about a MetaMask and seed phrases and everything. That will really help onboard some users, right, who aren't so Web3 native. But also, you can log in with a social account on Carv. All this stuff's in place. Doing more stuff to make the user flow great. Because, I mean, we have a great community, 1.5 million registered users. About 80% of them are what we call Web3 native. The other 20% are Web3 curious. But we need to remember, like, Web3 is such a bubble. There's only so many amount of eyeballs and so many amount of users. We as Carv and also as a industry need to do better at reaching outside this bubble and going for the traditional gamer, the traditional, internet enjoyer. They're still out there, and I think with the market improving these past few weeks, retail is going to come in. Everyone's going to look to sink their teeth into something cool, so it's coming for sure.
Absolutely. I might jump across to Osman now and just get a little bit of an update and a bit of an overview, or Anil, whoever wants to talk about it, how you see OmChain making the digital identity solution more accessible and user-friendly for those that are technical, but also the non-technical audience. So really those traditional users.
I think I can answer to that, and then I can hand over to Anil. So basically, the main point here is that we want it to be working as similar to HTTPS as possible. You use Google Chrome or Opera, Firefox, whatever browser you have. You don't realize that this technology is embedded, but until you go to some website that is using the HTTP protocol, and then your browser just simply tells you that your connection is not secure. So we want it to be as simple as that for the end user, because at the end users, we don't expect them to understand fully from the cryptography. We don't expect them to understand fully from the technical details, but we want them to simply use a safe and secure product. And if they want to learn more about it, then they can go dive deep into that. So our approach is to integrate this protocol, integrate this private key generation and signing capabilities into mobile applications of our clients, like a banking application. It's a finance application, your mobile banking application that you have been using for many years now, but now it comes with Web3 capabilities. Or your cities, municipalities mobile application, but now it comes with your digital identity embedded into it, so that there is no friction in terms of user experience, so that users don't have to necessarily download MetaMask or any other third-party wallet application.
Which is fantastic. Thank you, Osman. And that actually brings up an interesting point about when you do talk about verifying accounts and ensuring security is there. And that's one of the capabilities that we're building. And that is around being able to, and I describe it as circular security, where each of so within, for example, the Low1x wallet, that you actually, you might bring in your MetaMask wallet, you bring in all your others, and you've got other solutions there as well as connectivity across to the likes of products like Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those. And for those products, instead of just having a simple two-factor authentication, and people describe that as pretty much the minimum these days, but to be able to take it to another level where all of those apps and your wallets are all authenticating one another. So you really have that circular security of authentication in there. And we're just looking to increase that, the safety, the reliability, and the speed of those solutions. And that also applies across to the gaming side of it. And Paul, with your the Carv solution, how they can actually your solution could actually become a part of that authentication process, and safeguarding it for the users. I'll throw a question out there to Paul about how do you see the Carv solution moving forward in the future? What's the landscape look like for you guys with your future plans?
Yeah, the The age-old alpha question. Talk about our future roadmap drops.
Yes.
Um, we're gearing up to do TGE, right? That's why we've kind of taken these steps and rolled out this airdrop campaign. When TGE, as I get asked like 100 times a day, I can't tell you when we're planning on it, but it should be before the end of Q1. All I can say to our users is, keep farming your soul. You'll be able to exchange that for our token after TGE. But other things we're gearing up for, yeah, I think leading partnerships on Carv. Always looking for great games, and I think we're finally in the year where games funded in the past 1, 2 to 3 years are finally coming to the market. So there's going to be a lot new game partners we can work with on the UA side. That's always exciting. We're closing a Series A. On fundraising side, that's going really well. I don't know how much detail I can go into, obviously, but that's going really well too. And then moving forward, really want to pour like lighter fluid on the Carve machine and hire key talent in the engineering and product side of things to keep expanding this Carve protocol and let us do all the cool things we've talked about today, like integrating Layer 1x, integrating OmChain, working with cool products like you guys. That's definitely the focus moving forward. And then just really becoming the go-to UA platform. I like to say we are now, but there's still some milestones I need to achieve as a partnerships lead to get us there. There's still some big fish in the gaming world we need to work with, and some big ecosystems as well. So checking those boxes off, making sure we have a stellar token launch, becoming a big market cap coin so I can retire young and move to Japan and just, I don't know, watch anime all day and look at pretty girls. I think that's my dream. So that's what we got going on in 2024.
Fantastic! I love hearing the stories about what people wanting to do
Yeah, absolutely.
once they reach there. And I think this is where it comes in, is that being able to have these conversations, and so many times, and how many conversations I've had over the last couple of years with projects and chains, and what I'm enjoying the most is actually being able to get out there and talk to these projects about the solutions that we each provide and those capabilities. And as an infrastructure solution that is providing that interoperability between all the various chains, and we're connected to Ethereum, BSC, Avalanche, Polygon, Solana,
Yeah.
which is non-EVM, Arbitrum, Optimism, and Phantom. But which is great. It's fantastic to be able to transact between those, to be able to provide that the interoperability, the decentralization. But the key is really those other solutions, those layer two projects, those products like OmChain and Carv, and how we can actually bring those together. And those partnerships are going to be absolutely crucial for the future. It's something that you don't see in the traditional world, in traditional business. They're all fighting against one another for their position. Whereas we take a different approach that let's unite them all together, and those products and solutions that actually have true capability, they will absolutely shine. And we're also giving back that ownership to the end user. And I think that's absolutely important, that people see that decentralization is actually real, that we can actually provide something that takes away from those big corporates.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I'd like to do is probably I think we're heading towards the end of time, and I know I've got another meeting with one of our other projects coming up very shortly. But maybe Osman, if I jump across to you for a minute about how the community can get involved in OmChain or support it, and understand a little bit more about your solution. I know we've had a number of talks, but it's really good to get on there again and speak and showcase OmChain, and then we'll jump across to Carv as well.
I think one of the things we can do right now is to once we launch this email address verified DIDs, because they are also NFTs. Sorry about that. Because they are also NFTs. What we can do is we can, once we have integrated this by the end of this month, um, we can have Carve integrated with our DIDs, so that users who are holding our DIDs could also integrate that to their Carve profiles, and Carve users who wish to verify their email addresses and get an email verified badge can do so from our platform. Because eventually, if you're an application that is willing to distribute some airdrops, that is willing to open up some poll, some competition, you have to go through email verification, but users might not be feeling very comfortable sharing that information with you. So we are going to be having email verified DIDs. So this is already providing some, how do I say, pre-approved user base for the upcoming games that Carv might be integrating to. So I think this is one of the things that we can technically work on and deliver by the end of this month or maybe early February, I think. Chief, if you're speaking, you are
I've done it
again on
again,
mute,
haven't
I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
yeah. Was curious
Thank
about
Yeah.
you, gentlemen.
Used to it.
Sorry, so good to actually hear that, Osman. And we start seeing all of the synergies and that the collaboration that occurs in this space. And Paul, so I'll throw it out to you about how our listeners can get involved with Carv.
how, how to get involved with us.
Yes, so open it up to where do they find some more about you?
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, our Twitter, that it's in here in the space, Carv_official. That's a good starting point. You can find, I think we use Linktree. I'm not too sure to find all of our accounts.
yep.
It's carv.io/play. That's the questing and discovery site, but you could do just /protocol to find the airdrop and everything there. If you're looking to work with us, my DMs are open. It's my name on Telegram, Paul DeLeo. Easy to slide in. I will say, we talked about a lot of cool things: the LayerX collaboration, the collaboration with OmChain, etc. As a business development guy, and I'm sure you guys may know this too, we talk about all these cool things, but then we get told by our product and engineering team that they can't do it right now. So I will say we're ready to do work with you guys, but it's going to take the engineers some time. I know they have their own timeline as well, but I make so many grand promises and then I get brought back down to earth. There's timeline and manpower that needs to be allocated.
Paul, never give up. Keep pushing them. Look, working with Kevin, our founder, he works so hard to be able to try and achieve this with his team on the development side. So, we go to him with all, can you do this? When can you do it by? And so used to having those conversations, and I know what they're like. But they're
Yep.
so enjoyable when you actually come out with a solution and people start seeing it. And we've just gone from being, providing that the base infrastructure to actually providing the wallet and the L1X app, and then being able to bring those other projects in as well is probably key uh, into the solution. So we look forward to having further chats there, Paul, about how we can
Yep.
move it forward, and the same with Osman. The work that we're doing with you is, I think it's been absolutely. I can only describe it as revolutionary. And when you look at the costs associated with government services and corporate services as well, and I've worked across all of them. It's absolutely mind blowing the amount of money that they spend on these. And when you start introducing blockchain type solutions, it's amazing how much easier and cheaper it is for these organisations to implement. And the same on the gaming side, really, as well, is that Web3 gaming is only going to get adopted, strong adoption, when it becomes easy to use, becomes mainstream. And I think the things that you've spoken about tonight, Paul, is actually taking that in absolutely the right direction.
Hell yeah. I'm very bullish on the gaming vertical. I grew up playing games. It's a dream come true to be working in games. But it's also funny. I thought, hey, working in games, maybe I'll be able to play a little bit more, but now I play less than I ever have in my life.
Yep.
But yeah, I definitely think gaming makes a lot of sense for Web3. It's just people like the DeFi stuff. It may be too confusing, right? But like gaming, it just makes sense. So owning my own assets, that's something I've wanted to do my entire life. I mean, like look, a couple years ago with the new Warzone and Call of Duty, all your assets are gone for good. Like, come on, like it just makes sense for the gamers. So as long as we can frame it as, that what I was just saying, and not NFT this, NFT that, because that like has a scam connotation, and rightfully so. There's a lot of bad actors in the space.
Yep. No, absolutely. And just touching on a little bit of ancient history here, and I do use the word ancient probably because I'm a bit old myself, but going back to probably my first game being the likes of Pong, which most people probably haven't even heard of, or even the likes of King's Quest. I don't know if you remember back to that, if you've ever, depending on how old you are. So
I don't remember that. Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
I'm 96. So yeah, I think I'm a little. No, I'm still pretty young. I'm still pretty young. 96.
Brilliant.
So yeah, I started with I think I said Pokemon Yellow. Grew up on the GameCube, PS2, Game Boy Advance, Golden Era. So much fun. But
Well,
yeah, no, those are a little older than me, brother.
yeah, definitely, yeah. Look, I go back a little ways than you guys, but then great, yeah, showing my age, definitely. But gentlemen, I do thank you for your time tonight, and Osman, I'll throw it to you. Do you have any anything you want to add in closing, or Anil?
I would like to say something, Chief. Thank you so much for having us. And as we embark on this transformative journey into digital age, digital ID stands at the forefront, promising a future when convenience meets security. So, guys, gentlemen, keep an eye out for new developments and innovations in the field of blockchain, in the field of digital ID, for they are key to unlocking a world where your identity seamlessly integrates with digital landscape. Exciting times, promising times lie ahead as technology continues to evolve and shape the way we authenticate, connect, and experience the digital realm. Stay tuned for the future of digital identity is not just a concept, it's a dynamic force that will redefine the way we navigate our increasingly interconnected world. Cheers, chaps. Thank you so much, Chief.
You're very welcome, and it's real. That's probably the key. And I'll throw it to Paul. Anything you want to add for the to close?
I talked a lot. I really appreciate you guys having me on. It's always a joy to do the AMAs. Great panelists of speakers from LairX and from OmChain. There's a lot of cool builders in the space building cool things. So I implore the audience to check it out for sure. Carv, no better time than to sign up now. Too many monetization opportunities, the airdrop opportunity. Having sovereignty over your data, finding fun games. If you're a gamer, you need to be on Carv. It doesn't matter if it's Web3 or Web2. That'll be my
Uh,
closing statement. Thanks again to you guys and the audience for tuning out.
You're very welcome, Paul, and Osman and Anil. Thank you so much for your time tonight. And I think I'll just add in there that LeoNX, we've also got our airdrop out there, and our public sale is closing off very, very shortly. So yeah, don't miss it. But thank you again, gentlemen, for your time tonight.
Yeah, just on an ending note, I would like to remind people that in Layer 1x Discord, we have lots of competitions going where you can participate and win Layer 1x tokens. The link to the Discord will be in our bio. And if you think there are any projects that would like to come up to do an AMA with us or any influencers out there, then fill out the X Talks AMA form that I have linked in the comments section. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you again in the next episode of X Talks. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Let's go.